This exercise is called the Sidelying Hip Abduction, and this exercise is really great at strengthening the glute medius, which specifically holds up the pelvis and stabilizes the pelvis when you walk, when you run, when you do any type of functional movement such as a squat, etc. So the way that we're going to work on this muscle is to get into a side lying position like so. I really want to make sure that that elbow is directly underneath the shoulder here and you have a straight line coming down. You're going to bend that bottom knee, give you a little bit of support. Big thing with this exercise, you want to make sure that you are not leaning back super far, because then your hip flexors will take over this movement. You also want to make sure you're not leaning so far forward that your glute max kicks into hip extension. So what we want to do is find that sweet spot. So the way I always tell people is to roll forward just a little bit, make sure you're in neutral here. And then that hip is going to kick back just a little bit. That knee is straight. We're going to turn the toes down just a tiny bit. And then we're going to lift up and back down. So you can see here there's a tiny bit of movement here, right there, every time I lift up. We want to try to minimize that as much as possible. So I'm going to try to do a better job here at getting a little less movement. There we go. And if you're doing this exercise correctly, you should feel a burn right behind where that hip bone is, right in through this area. That is where your glute med is. And if you're doing this correctly, you will feel it. And that is the side lying hip abduction.